So the question I want to pose to Mr. Ong is two questions. A, how important is CCA in secondary school? And B, how will CCA help my child to develop his or her potential? Mr. Ong, please.
Maybe in primary schools, maybe not in all primary schools now, CCAs is compulsory. And for your child, maybe they go into a CCA just to learn something new, just to try, or just to exercise in a sport. But when you go into secondary school, we see that as an integral component of the secondary school experience and education. I think Ms. Chong spoke about character, values, leadership, and that's the values that will carry them forward for a very long time, beyond what they remember of their maths, their science, or whatever other subject. So in secondary school, CCA is compulsory. Compulsory not again because we want to force people into it, because for children, when they go into it, they may think that, oh, I just want to do what I like to do. Maybe I like to be in the aircon, I want to stay at home and study, I don't want to go into sports, I don't want to go out there and do something. But it's only when they are immersed in the experience, and over a period of 4 to 5 years, you will see that transformation in them. So what kinds of CCAs are available? So just to share examples, you have 4 big groups. The first 2 groups will be uniform group organizations and sports and games. These are more the outdoor type of activities. So for uniform groups, you hear of NCC, the National Cadet Corps, the NPCC, the Police Cadet Corps, and we have a new one, NCDCC, Civil Defense Cadet Corps. Then you have your Boys Brigade, Girls Brigade, Scouts, Girl Guides, and St. John's Ambulance Brigade, as well as the Red Cross. All these are considered uniform group organizations because they wear the uniform. Next, you have the sports and games. Quite obvious, I think to many of you, you've seen that in the TV, in the newspapers, about how some of the schools excel in certain sports, right? So you go look at the Straits Times anytime in the sports section, usually there's a little bit on school sports. And again, just looking at that, you also get a sense which school are good at which sports. The next 2, for those who are less outdoor-based, you know your child either physically or interest-wise are not very interested to go out there. There's still other options. We have the performing arts as well as the clubs and societies. Performing arts, you have again your band, your Chinese orchestras, the string ensembles, harmonica, guitar, traditional cultural instruments, and then you have all your dancers, Malay, Chinese, modern, Indian, and just goes on. All right, there's so many different options out there. Again, do your homework, check out the school, find out whether they have these things that your child will be interested to learn in. Just want to make a comment. In fact, this morning, I just saw a post. There was a reader who wrote into the Today newspaper and spoke about the CCAs not being offered to children based on interest. I think it's also appropriate for us to mention that. I think in the school, we don't just look at students coming into CCAs for the sake of competitions. It is not always about competitions because we also look at the child's strengths, look at the child's interests. And sometimes also, we find that there are students who want to join the CCA for 2 reasons. One, they have experienced it in primary school, they're interested to pursue it further, but there are also students who come into secondary school saying that I want to do something different. All right? Maybe they have experienced it in primary school, they know they're good at it, but they want to challenge themselves. So I think this is even a matter as simple as CCA. It's good to have that chat with your child, a conversation to find out what are they thinking, what would they like to do in that 4 years in secondary school. CCA, as I mentioned, is not just about competitions and achievement. Just to show you that CCAs in secondary school currently accumulate points. CCA points then accumulate into, aggregate into a grade. So it's like a subject. You have your A1, A2, B3, B4. What is it used for? All right? It can be used for admission into a junior college. It is also taken into consideration in admission into a polytechnic, especially during the direct poly admission, when they will look at the strengths of a child, what leadership position, what special strengths and talents a child may have in considering them for admission. But very briefly, the CCA grading system is premised on this thing called LEAPS, L-E-A-P-S. L stands for leadership, E for enrichment, A for achievement, P for participation, and S for service. So CIP, Community Involvement Program, is also part of this LEAP system. So you can see now that whatever we do, we try and recognize and we try and reward the children for their effort. And this is how we do it. I have kids in school who tell me that, oh, CCA is not important. As long as I do my 6 subjects very well, I can go into a JC. As well as I do my 5 subjects very well, I can go into a polytechnic. But you must realize today, we're talking about hundreds of thousands of children wanting to go into very competitive courses in the polys or in the JCs. What makes one stand out? It is not your A1 in all your subjects. What makes one stand out is really the qualities that a person can show through the CCA, through the CIP, and through other co-curricular areas. So to me, I think, and to Ms. Chong, I think we've mentioned this a few times, it is about that character that you can show more than the grades that you can put on that piece of paper. So CIP, I mentioned that again, is about going out to the community. The idea is again not to just go and pick litter or sing a song to kindergarten kids. It's not about that. It is what they learn in that process. And that's why Minister has now reframed it as values in action. So in schools now, you will hear them talk about CIP not as an activity per se, but a process of learning, a process of reflection, a process of helping others. We have other things, student leadership development, trips for international experience, and other enrichment activities. I think you would have heard enough of it even at a primary school, but it's an extension where we go deeper, we become more rigorous and more deliberate about it. Because this is the phase. If you think about your child in the teenager years, this is when their value systems, their beliefs begin to set in, begin to mature. So we want to make sure the experiences we give them during this very critical period will help them to be very confident and to know themselves well to prepare for the future. I want to end off with 2 things. One is just newspaper article which appeared in the Straits Times, and then 2 stories to support that. This newspaper article was published last year in September by Sandra Davy, the ST Straits Times writer, and the headline is "Picking a School, Think Big Fish, Small Pond." All right. Other than this big, small thing, I think the main point of this article really says is find the right fit. Find a place where your child really can be happy, can be confident, and grow in a secure and safe environment. All right. You can have your child in inverted commas top school. That means a highest T-score, very difficult to get in. Even if you're very proud that the child can get in at that point in time, it does not mean your child will really be able to grow, because it depends on whether he or she is comfortable. There are programs that meet his or her needs, whether it's learning the way that he's comfortable with, whether there are pathways for him or her in that school. So you must be very mindful of that. And on that note, actually, I just want to point to the fact that a lot of things that we said here, even if you didn't manage to copy it or catch it, don't worry. Most of the information is available on the MOE website. Go in there, look for this thing called the School Information Service. Everything you need to know about school is summarized in there. The key programs, the key achievements, the subjects they offer, the CCAs they offer. From the School Information Service, you can click and go on to the school website. The school website, I think, is also very revealing. It will tell you again the sense of what this school is about, what they can offer. Then better still, visit the school. All right, we talk about open houses. Go and see for yourself. That 1-2 hours there will tell you a lot about the school. Bring your child there. You see how your child interact with the people there. You also know whether it's the right school for him or her. 2 stories I want to share. The first is about this. Both of the stories are about students in my school. This first story is about this boy known as Hanifa. His name is Hanifa. He comes from a very disadvantaged family. His father owns a provision shop. His mother has arthritis and often cannot walk. But he has very young siblings at home that he needs to take care of. Father working, mother cannot help. So there are days he cannot come to school. If I just tell you that and I stop there, you would think that, oh, bad boy doesn't come to school. Maybe you have to expel. But we realized in him there was this character, that determination to want to do well. And when he has to stay at home, it's not because he doesn't want to come to school or he doesn't want to do his work. We knew he wanted to do well to help his family. And that's when we stepped in to support him. We worked with the teachers, we worked with him to see on the days he couldn't come to school, how can we support him after he comes back? How can we give him worksheets or access to a computer where he can do online learning? At the end of it, to cut the long story short, he did very well. First at the N-level exams 2 years ago, He was the top Indian student in Singapore, one of the top Indian students in Singapore for the N-level exams. And last year when he did his O-levels, he was one of the top students in our school. All right, today he's in a polytechnic. He knows what he wants, and the school and the family work together to help him get there. All right, this is a case of the parents also working very closely with us to see how to come to work out arrangements so that the family is not compromised, the siblings are taken care of. At the same time, Hanifa can excel. The second story is the one to illustrate the point about CCA. All right, I was asked a question of, is CCA really important? So what if I have CCA points? This is the story of Sasha Rivka. Sasha Rivka comes from another very troubled family. The father is imprisoned. In prison, and the mother has to take care of her and two other sisters. All right, with the siblings all younger than her, what could she do? The mother doesn't have a very high-paying job. That didn't stop her from doing well. She found her strength. She found her niche in hockey. All right, she's never played hockey before. She joined our school, played hockey because it was a niche in our school. He did so well in it that she got the School Sports Star Award, which was launched last year, and Minister specially mentioned her in the Parliament during the COS budget debate in March this year as one of the most memorable students that he had met, for having overcome the adversity in her life, for being able to continue to excel, not just in CCA, but also in the area of academic studies. Today, she's in Victoria Junior College by direct school admission. Okay, so the point I want to make was for direct school admission because she had that strength in sports. She became a leader. She was a captain of the girls' team, and VJC saw that talent in her. So today she's in there. I won't say she's a top student in terms of academic studies, but she copes very well. Why? Because she has that resilience in her. She's adaptable. She can think on her feet. She works very well with her classmates, even though she comes from all the way from the west, all the way to the east. All right, she can still cope. She's fitting in well. And we're very proud of her for having done that. And so that's the point I want to make. I think as a parent, you know your child. You know what they are strong in. You know what their hopes, their fears are. The school is here to support you. So work with the schools, look at how we can best design programs and support the child to excel and do very well in the future.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Ong, for sharing with us the two very touching story about his students. And over the last 50 minutes, I think we have learned quite a bit, substantially, from the two principals. And now is the time we hear from our specialists. All right, specialists must ask him a little bit more difficult questions. Okay, so the question that I want to ask my friend Jeffrey is, as parents, how do I keep my child motivated in his or her education effort in school? Jeffrey, care to share with us?
I think there are quite a number of motivational theories out there. We probably have time to just talk about one or two. But I also could think of one or two that relate quite well to today's topic. Is about choice of school. The first one I want to talk about is the idea of self-efficacy. Self-efficacy is basically your child's confidence in his or her ability to do something. I think today we have not overemphasized enough that there's a need for you to know your child, okay, to discover the strength, the interest, the kind of learning needs. How is your child being wired? It's important to know that. And then to bear in mind that there's always flexibility and choice, and know something about the school. Is there a right fit? Let's not go for the school that your neighbor or your colleagues compete at, and then it goes the question of, is the school more for you or is it more for your child? So always safeguard this idea of self-efficacy. Build the self-efficacy, the self-confidence of your child. The good school, the good choice will be a school that can play up the strength and develop the interest of your child. That would be the best school. It's not a school that everybody compete for, but it's a school that bring out the strength, okay, and safeguard the self-efficacy. And that also means how we talk and what are the things we say and we do with our child or to the child. I'm also a parent myself. I just went for another talk at 11. The talk at 11 was about character building begins with who, right? And we are reminded that as parents, look out for three things: our temperament, our personality, and our character. because this will bring to bear on our children as well. So I thought the first motivational theory is how to motivate your child. It's really about knowing your child and knowing the best fit, and have that discussion with your child, discuss and not dictate. You know, which school that your child should be going to, have a healthy conversation, discuss. And I think the second theory that I want to talk about, and I will still state it more in layman terms, is about goal theory, or the importance about goal setting. It's important to have dreams, to talk about your future plans and what schools you want to aspire to. But there's no point talking about it unless you have the intermediate steps of setting goals, knowing what are the intermediate steps. So one way to do it is that you know, as you travel with your child, as you walk through the neighborhood, you know, you can talk to your child, what do you imagine yourself doing in future? You know, there's a bank here, do you foresee yourself in a banking line? You look at all these buildings, how does it come about? Somebody have to design it. Do you like design? Are you a creative person? Just give some ideas for the child to project to the future. What do I see myself 10 years, 15 years? And then if you see yourself being that, what does it take, you know? What kind of academic qualifications do I need? And then work out the intermediate steps. Then what's next? What's before that? Okay, I got to get I got to go into this program of study. Okay, therefore I need to be sufficiently good in certain subjects, and therefore I need to choose these subjects. So work out the steps. When the child knows that what they are studying in school has a bearing for their life goals, for their future, then that will build a lot of motivation. And I highly suspect a lot of students who are acting up, who are disruptive in class, is because they haven't gotten down to what they want to do in future. So, you know, so their mission to go to school is perhaps to make life difficult for the teacher, or just to be a class clown, you know, for everybody to laugh at. So it's very important. Just two big concepts. First one, safeguard the self-efficacy of a child. And second, the very important step of goal setting, working out the intermediate steps. So what is before that? So what's before that? So what must we do now? And then come alongside, show the care and concern. If plan A fails, there's always plan B, and then there's always plan C. Understand that there are possibilities, there are options, and there are flexibilities in our system in today's context. So just briefly, two key big ideas for you to take away.
Right, thank you, Jeffrey.